I wanted to speak a little bit about what we're doing at the federal level to combat what's going on in terms of education, but also in terms of many of the injustices we're seeing come down from Tallahassee, come down from an administration that cares more about running for president than running the state of Florida. And we have to be honest about this, and we have to be clear about what's going on, because if we don't understand the battlefield, we don't know how to prepare for battle. So there are three different things I think about with my job as a member of Congress that we can do. I separate it into three categories: communication, advocacy, and organizing. In terms of communication, and I told this to my staff in DC as soon as things started bubbling up, almost every committee hearing that we do, almost every time that I open my mouth on a mic in the Capitol, I want to connect what's going on there to the injustices that are going on here. And we have done it in roughly 90 to 95% of our committee hearings. Whether, I'm on the oversight committee where I sit with some of your favorite people: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz. These are the people that I serve with on the committee. And instead of talking about affordable housing, gun violence, the things that we care about, they want to spend time talking about Hunter Biden's laptop. That no one cares about. But either way, I'll give you an example. One of our committee hearings having to do with Hunter Biden's laptop. The Republicans were asserting that they're saying there's a two-tier justice system. I heard that and I said, you're right, there is a two-tier justice system. They believe the two-tier justice system is Donald Trump versus everybody else, versus Democrats. That someone like Donald Trump is not receiving fair justice as a very rich white man who was the former president of the United States. I wanted to ensure that folks knew that there was a two-tier justice system, and we're seeing it play out right here in the state of Florida. And we connected that argument to instances like the Groveland Ford, right here in Central Florida. We connected it to what's going on here in this state, where just a couple days ago we woke up and our duly elected state attorney was removed from office. Not because she did anything wrong, but because the governor doesn't like her and her politics. So we're making that connection in DC, which I think is important. I have folks oftentimes come up to me and say, Maxwell, what's going on in Florida? I always respond with the same thing: come down and find out, because we need help and we need support here. The second thing is organizing, and this is really important to me. As many of y'all know, I come from an organizing background. Just a few days ago, we were at City Hall protesting and ensuring folks knew that we were against what happened with Monique Morel. We're ensuring that we're on the doors, we were on the doors knocking, and thank you to Equal Ground for planning that. We were on the doors knocking, and we knock doors every week to connect with the community so folks understand what's going on. Whether it's with education or whether it's with the injustices, all the injustices we're seeing from the state level. We're rallying and we're protesting and creating that good trouble in the tradition of folks like John Lewis, because that's the work that we have to do here in Florida. The last thing is advocacy. And when you get into a situation, and we all do this, but sometimes we don't know we're doing it. As an organizer, we take a step back and we do what's called a power map. We assess our power and where we have it. Our power at the federal level right now lies with the administration, lies with the Senate. This is why elections matter. This is why elections matter. And so, we as an office took a step back and said, how can we advocate for Florida with the administration? And there's more that needs to be done. And we have a champion in President Joe Biden. We do. But when you love someone, you have a good relationship, it's okay to say, hey, we need a little bit more. And what we know is we need the Department of Justice and the Department of Education to launch a fully fledged investigation into what's going on in Florida. That has not happened yet, but we are pushing. And they care. Just a few weeks ago, I had dinner with the Secretary of Education, Miguel Cardona, right here in Orlando. He's been here multiple times. I laid out what's going on. He knows what's going on. And we got some great commitments from him. And I think we're going to see more action from the Department of Education on what they can do here in Florida. We know that most of the power with education lies with the state, not the federal government. But there are mechanisms and tools that they could use. We all know about the carrot and the stick. I want to see the stick, because we have a problem right now in this state. The other thing I'll bring up is we have seen time and time again that the vice president has come here to this state multiple times, almost more than any other state, and that has power within itself. There are two members of the president's re-election committee in Florida, myself and Senator Chevron Jones, and we've been asking them, come to Florida, come to Florida, come to Florida. I'll say, even if we weren't advocating, I think they would have been here anyway, because they understand that this is a state that they shouldn't forget and shouldn't give up on. And so we'll continue to fight. We've sent multiple letters to different members of Congress. Just yesterday, we sent a letter to the Oversight Committee Chairman Comer saying we need to launch an investigation on this committee. Y'all want to spend a ton of time talking about Hunter Biden's laptop? Okay. I want to spend time talking about the blatant authoritarian leader in this state that wants our kids to believe that black people who were enslaved receive personal benefits from it. I ran to work on the issues. So we need Congress to focus on the issues. And again, this is why elections matter. Yeah. The last thing I'll say is we have the complete, full support of the Congressional Black Caucus, which is oftentimes called the conscience of the Congress. And we had a press conference on this just a few weeks ago, right when the news came out. And I spoke with Chairman Horsford himself. He came down here a few weeks ago, and we are figuring out other ways that we can advocate to see how the federal government can be involved here. But it's a nexus. It's not one congressman that will fix this. It's not one state representative or one state senator that will fix this, or one county commissioner, city commissioner. It's all of us, right? This is an ecosystem of justice that we build together. And unless we fight together, we won't win. A movement can start with one person, but for it to be successful, it sure as hell won't end with one person. And so we'll continue to fight together. I appreciate y'all being here. Continue to be involved. My last call to action would be, don't let yourself leave this amazing facility without mentally committing to your next action. If you can do that, raise your hand. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much.